So I'm trying to get something published at the moment, just a short project. And to go with my submission to the publisher, I needed an author bio, which is something I've been avoiding writing for years. But over the last 2 weeks, I sat down and I finally did it. The end result is not fantastic, but I definitely learned a few things along the way that hopefully, if you're looking to write your own author bio, might help you out a little bit. Before I get into it, if you're new here, I'm Kieren Westwood. I write flash fiction, short stories, novels, and I make 2 writing related videos a week. They're all designed to help you get better at writing along with me, since I'm always looking to improve. So if that sounds like it might be useful to you, hit the subscribe button and we can develop our writing together. And by the way, if you're wondering why I sound like this, it's hay fever, or allergies if you're not from the UK. Me and my native plants apparently don't get along at all. I figured this author biography stuff probably bothers quite a few writers, and when I looked online for advice and help, I found a lot of conflicting information which really wasn't helpful. There was even one article that had a few bullet points, and one of them was, don't be arrogant, so don't make the whole thing about you, but then underneath it said, make sure it's personal to you. So I managed to wade through most of the bad articles, and I got onto some good articles as well. So what I've done is kind of amalgamated all of the information that I thought was useful into a short guide about how to write this, especially if you really hate the idea of writing it, which is the position I was in before I did mine. One of the biggest things I noticed about the articles is that they often said different things that you needed to include. So the approach I took was that I was going to include what I wanted to include and nothing else. So if I didn't want to talk about something in particular, I just didn't. The things I wanted to mention in my author bio were education and experience, the type of writing I do, a personal fact or two about me if I could find something interesting, and then some reference to whatever accolades I thought I had. Everything apart from the accolades was your basic information. It wasn't really going to change that much. It was easy to write down because it was basically just facts. Even if I change location, I can just change that in the bio without having to rewrite it. Not a big deal. The accolades though was where I really struggled. Usually my go-to with accolades is what little success I've had in a few writing competitions. So I've been shortlisted and longlisted for a few things over the past couple of years. But in my case, I'm sending this to a publisher and I just didn't think it was relevant, especially when I looked on the publisher's website and all of their authors have had stuff published in journals or published collections of short stories or traditionally published novels. Me saying I've done alright in a couple of competitions didn't really seem to line up with that. To contradict what I just said, I have actually used writing competitions as an accolade for this author bio, even though it's going to a publisher. The reason why is because the actual project that I'm submitting to that publisher was shortlisted for a prize. So in that way, it's kind of relevant because it's about the project. It's not just a general accolade, if that makes any kind of sense whatsoever. A lot of writers, especially new writers, if they're looking to send the first thing ever or they're writing their first ever author bio, might not necessarily have any accolades just yet. You may not have been shortlisted or longlisted for anything, you might not have any publishing credits just yet. My advice would be, if you don't have anything, just leave the accolades section out of the biography. Don't try and build up a lesser achievement or something that isn't really relevant just to put something in there, because I think it'll do you more harm than good. That's pretty much the situation I'm in, really. If it weren't for the shortlisting on that exact project, I wouldn't have put anything at all because my accolades I don't feel were relevant. So by the time I got to this point where I had my basic stuff written out, I knew there was 4 things that I would do if I was going to write this again. Number 1 would be to do as I did and only take the facts that you actually want to include and the stuff you actually want to include and put that into it. Don't include anything you're not comfortable sharing or you don't think is interesting enough to be shared. Just leave it out. The second one would be to make sure the accolades that you've got match up with where you're sending it. And if they don't, just change them or remove them. I think it's better not to add anything at all than to add something totally irrelevant. The third thing was a reminder for myself to keep a note of everything I achieve as a writer that could possibly be considered as an accolade. Write down the dates and the type of work, the title of the work, the place it was published or the competition that it did well in. Keep a note of that. I may have a spreadsheet where all of this is detailed, but keep a note of it somewhere because these details slip your mind after a while and it's really useful to be able to refer back to something and then you can just put it straight into your bio. The fourth thing I learned is that you should keep multiple versions of your biography. So if you've got one that works for prizes, just keep that and then you can copy and paste it every time you send it to a prize. Same with traditional publishing or whatever else. I'll put another couple of videos here that you might be interested in. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and I'll see you in the next one.